Evening, guys. Time for our next Meet the Collection. This is actually the second smallest animal that's been on this. Although this animal is a young adult. This is my male spotted python. You guys have seen my female on other videos. He is a morph within the spotted pythons. He's actually a granite. So kind of quickly, if you were to look, it almost looks kind of like a McLeod's python, but it's not. I was actually going to try using one of my McLeod's pythons for the Meet the Collection segment, but she's told me to go F myself. So I said, we'll go with this one. The McLeod's pythons really don't like being handled yet. They're still kind of growing out of that defensive stage, which seems to last a while with them. And I also haven't really put the time in to turn that around. But this guy's been great since the day that I got him. I got him from Reptile Basics at Tinley, actually. I don't know if it was the October show or the March show. I think I actually bought him in the March show. I have to think. I don't really remember. I do remember that it was the time that I flew out there. I didn't drive. So this last time I went in October, I drove in March. So it had to be the October show, actually, the October before that. Rob and Emily from Nerd actually drove him home for me to Nerd, and he was up there for a little bit before I went and picked him up and brought him home. But it worked out so that I was able to get him, because obviously you can't take him back on the plane. He is super cool, very chill snake. I can just reach right into his cage, grab him right out. I'm still always convinced, being a spotted python, that one day he's just going to bite me and start chewing on me. Especially when I watch him and you see him react to the hairs on my arm. I always think, like, one of these times he's going to be like, let's see what happens here. But to date, he has not done that yet. Neither has my female. I've heard such horror stories about them being, nippy and a pain in the butt, but I haven't had it at all. Neither one of them has ever taken even a shot at me. I definitely enjoy working with these guys. I have not successfully gotten them to breed yet, but he's still young. They have paired up and they've locked last season. This season I introduced him once and they didn't have any interest, so I just kind of let it be. I didn't really cycle her much, so that's probably a good part of it. Turn around, man. Nobody can see you. Try to get in close on him here. But yeah, the Granite's really cool, and you can still tell he's got some of the iridescence. The female's really iridescent. She's a Cape York, so she's really pretty. I used her for one or two videos, so those of you guys that have watched have definitely seen her before. I know she was in the shipping tips video, and I can't remember what other one I used her for, but I definitely used her for a second video. So I'm looking forward to producing spotted pythons at some point. And they would be het granite, so they would visually look like normal spotted pythons, but they would carry one copy of the granite genes, unless she happened to be het, but she's not supposed to be, so I don't think that would be the case. He's a weird snake in his mannerisms and his moving. Like, when you hold him, he's always doing weird stuff, and he's always going weird directions. He's always been that way. Very good eater. Both of my spotted pythons eat great, especially him. The female, if it's around breeding season, occasionally might pull off of food for a couple of weeks. He doesn't stop eating. The only thing that stops him is me. Obviously, being a male and being a smaller species of python, I don't feed him very much. But he eats enough. What are you doing, man? Here, let people see you. He's got an agenda. So it's a newer species to me. These are the only two that I've ever owned. So I don't know an incredible amount about them to give you any real cool facts. But I do think they make a really nice pet python. They're good size. They don't get huge. It's not something you need a monster cage for, where you have to consider giving up half your house to have a pet snake. So that's nice. They do have a lot of personality, as you can see. Um, they're very inquisitive snakes. They eat pretty well. Most Australian things are pretty assertive when it comes to food. If I put food in front of him right now, even holding him, he would take it in a second and not think twice. Um, but yeah, I do think they can make really cool pets. Obviously being small, especially when they're babies, you have to really make sure you have them in secure housing because it's very easy for them to get out. Knock on wood, might have never gotten out, but I keep them secure, so it's not a problem. But I would imagine if somebody were to try to keep them in a tank or something like that, they would have a pretty good shot at getting out of that thing. Um, Even in racks, you got to make sure it's a good fit and they can't really go anywhere. I always worry when I put him in with a female because obviously she's like 3 times his size. It's not a concern, but I've always been worried like, oh man, what if he could find a way out? But he never has. And her tub's pretty secure. Still haven't named him. He's among the millions and millions of snakes that I just can't pick a name for and settle on. So I haven't decided, so feel free to pitch some ideas there. There you go. I don't know. I don't know what I would name him. He's not a slow animal by any means or anything, but he's very slow and just, nothing really stresses him out. He doesn't really care about what's going on around him. He'll check it out. He doesn't get nervous. He's not head shy. Nothing really phases him. He just kind of goes with the flow, sees what's going on. You can see just occasional slow tongue flicks, nothing, not nervous about being out here. He's watching the candle. I have the candle on the table tonight instead of behind me. So he's been checking that out. He can probably feel the heat coming off it, trying to figure out what the heck it is. So we'll cut this short. I just wanted to get a chance to show him off, let you guys meet him. I don't have a hatch date on him or anything since I didn't produce him. And I did buy him at the show. Somewhat of an impulse buy as far as my standards go. I was looking for a male, but I didn't go to Tinley expecting to find one. They had these granites, and I just thought they were really cool. And, never heard anything bad about them, so I figured let's do it. Paid, I want to say around $200, a little over $200 maybe for him, and really inexpensive. And they had produced him, so it wasn't like they were flipping him. So I was happy for that. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully this next season I'm going to try a little harder and prep my female and prep him and see if we can get some spotted pythons. So he should be old enough. She's definitely old enough. So wish us luck on that one. We'll see you guys.